Yeah.
Uncle Sam put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be here. I brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome into Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. This week is Police Week, Law Enforcement Week, Recognition, whatever you want to call it. And today's guest is from the Oxford Police Department, Lieutenant Don Ridley. So stay where you are. Get back. You'll like this. Be right back. Welcome back into Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today's we're starting the week this week of Police Week, Police Recognition Week, and honoring all those who serve in the blue. And today's guest is a friend, and he's with the Oxford Police Department. His name is Lieutenant Don Ridley. Welcome to the show, Don.
Ken, it's good to be here.
Good to see
we've
you.
Talked about interviewing for quite a while now. Glad to finally get it done.
Yeah, it's with your schedule, you can work things in better than I can sometimes, and vice versa. I can work things in better than you can. So
yes, sir.
It's good with them. But it's very appropriate. What is it? Police Week, or what's it called?
Generally, it's referred to as National Police Week.
Yeah.
It's a week-long thing of activities, of different things to honor those that serve and those that have given the ultimate sacrifice while serving.
And that encompasses sheriffs, deputies, and all law enforcement.
That's correct. Your city, state, county, everybody, and it's a national.
Because I go to the one I have here in Anniston, and I see state troopers and all. It's
right.
All combined. But talking about the serving, you were in the service at one time, right?
Yes, sir. I was in the military. I was active duty Army from 1992 to 1998. I served most of my time in California and did a tour in South Korea.
Well, that's a third world country out there. California. I used to live there, I can say that.
Yes, sir. I was there for about 4.5 years. But my wife's from California, and I brought her to Alabama.
What part is she from?
She's from Burbank.
Okay, I needed something to harass her about when I see her again, because I lived in a place called Ventura and another place called
her father lives in Ventura.
Okay.
Been there.
Cuyama Valley I lived in, but it's like a desert. It's where the sheriff out of Santa Barbara, when he had an officer that would mess up, he'd detail him out there to Cuyama. Had a mobile home belonged to the sheriff, and whoever messed up on the force got sent out there as punishment.
I imagine it was effective.
But we always knew there was either screw up when we saw him. We knew he got kicked out there. And in your service, I know that. Knowing you, I know you're proud of that service, and you and I didn't even know you was in the Army. I knew you'd been in service, but the people that don't know what's in our heart stuff. I was in the Army too, but there's something about serving that is a satisfaction you get. You can't show it on a piece of paper, but the way you feel knowing that you're wearing the uniform of the people, protecting the people in this country, whether it's at Burbank, whether it's at in Miami, Florida, or in Afghanistan, Iraq, you go where they send you.
That's correct.
And the military, the Army needs people everywhere and throughout the United States, the continental United States. So whoever served, proud of their service, and I bet you're very proud of yours.
It's probably the single best thing outside of marrying my wife that I ever did was serving in the Army. I got an idea that there was a bigger world out there that was bigger than me, and I'm glad that I did it.
Sometimes when I have your boss on here, like Chief Partridge and stuff, and I talk about, and even when he's not on here, I talk about the veterans that's out there, the spouses that are watching now, when they come home from Afghanistan. There's no job openings out there for paid killers. They teach us from basic training on that we're killers and we belong to them, blah, blah, blah. But I always tell them to look at law enforcement as a way to get out, transition from the military, because you learn how to take orders, you learn how to give orders, you learn how to handle the different shifts, and you pretty well go with change a lot better than the average Joe. Am I right?
That's correct, and I may have a little bit of a biased opinion, but military veterans they've kind of have a been there, done that mentality, and they can easily adapt into our mission and what we have to accomplish. So that's correct. It's a very good benefit, or something they should look at when they transition from military service to the civilian world, is to look at law enforcement.
I was telling somebody the other day they talk about these creases in my shirts, you know. I've done that ever since I got out of the service, but it was a tradition. I felt better when I was looking sharp, you know. And I bet you had the same thing that is brought into your law enforcement.
That's correct. I still shine my boots with kiwi just like I did in the Army.
There's you a good kiwi. You got a good shot there. And we call it spit shining.
Spit shine.
There wasn't that much spit, but there's a lot of shining going on it. But yeah, that's what we bring out there. There's pride in the way we look, and you know, when you're out there confronting or talking with the people in public, if you don't look your best, you don't come across as being professional if you don't look good.
Well, that's correct, and my chief of police demands professionalism, both in our actions and our appearance, and that first impression that you give when you make an encounter on some type of call really can make a big difference. If you look like a slob, they're going to expect you. Maybe you're not. Your performance level is not up to par. So officers do need to present a very professional appearance when they approach somebody.
The situation that we got now, where I mentioned somebody earlier today, like used to when there's something going bad, people would run away from the police. Now they're running at the police and provoking them and this kind of thing, trying to make the evening news and things like that. And it's a very dangerous situation for both parties.
It is very dangerous, and I've never seen anything like this. I've been in law enforcement for about 17 years now, and I've never seen it like this. But we at the Oxford Police Department, we're going to continue to do what we do. We're going to come in every day and do the best job we can for our citizens, and we're going to stay safe and do what's right by our people. And I think that's what they want, and I know that's what the chief expects out of us, to do the best we can every day. And you know, this too shall pass, and you know, just do the best we can.
Yeah. Well, it's anyone. I live in Oxford, so I'm a little bit biased, but we got some that work for Shane Denham up in Anniston's. We got some real proud officers up there, and in this area, you can't. It's not wrong to wave at a policeman. They'll wave back at you, you know, and it's not. I seen some postings here a while back about the school, what kids would say to you. The appreciation. They're not taught to hate police like they are in other places in Oxford, Alabama.
That's right. You know, Chief Partridge and the superintendent and the Board of Education, they organized it to where we can work in the schools on our off days as school resource officers. And I primarily work at Oxford Elementary School. Miss Deborah Nelson is the principal there. And it's a great opportunity at a very young age to set a positive example for the young children. And you know, I probably get 100 hugs a day when I'm over there, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Well, that thing that used to parents, if you don't, I'm gonna tell the police on you. I'm gonna call the police on you, and that is not a good thing to say.
No, it's not.
Even if it wasn't this tension that we got going on, but.
Right. Yeah. Try not to paint us in a bad light, you know, to your children, because we want them to run to us if they need us and not away from us.
Absolutely, and that's we ain't got much time to finish this first segment, but I want to talk a lot more. I want to come back. I hope we got time to talk about something that's very near and dear, and I'm sure to you, this community, about bullying. You know, what it some of the ramifications from that. So we're going to go to a break. Going to come back more and talk with Lieutenant Ridley. You stay where I get your pen. You might want to talk to us. Welcome back to Veterans Issued. We're talking with Lieutenant Ridley from the Oxford Police Department, and we were talking about the things with the children and respecting and not being afraid of the police and all that stuff. But we talked about there's something else that Oxford has done, Oxford PD, that has really made me proud, because the Honor Guard. I have yet to see an Honor Guard as sharp and professional as the Oxford Police Honor Guard. You being in the military, you know what you got. You know what y'all got. You know when you're stepping right and when you're walking right and when you're standing right, and you're representing. And you're not just the city of Oxford, but you're representing all law enforcement. And I've seen you last time I saw you down at Oxford Civic Center, but I've seen you out in a lot of settings, and you're part of that honor guard, as I remember.
That's correct. I'm the commander of the honor guard.
Yeah. And that's only been together a while.
We've been together for a couple of years, and we consist of, right now we have 7 members, all but 2 are prior military, and so Chief and I kind of organized the honor guard a couple of years ago. We wanted a very professional unit that could perform at special occasions, like we performed at the National Day of Prayer at City Hall the other day. Just something to really exemplify the core standards of what Oxford Police Department stands for. And, you know, our motto is striving for excellence, and nothing speaks more of striving for excellence than that honor guard uniform. I
saw that where y'all appeared at the City Hall, and I got to, national prayer. It's like you guys, you don't hesitate about letting it be known you got faith. Y'all don't hide that.
No, sir, we do not.
And any time an officer gets up in the morning and puts his boots on and that uniform and becomes a target to the bad guys, these people out there, I was telling somebody the other day, and it's like the people that sit there in their car, they got an advantage over an officer walking up with his hand on top of his holster. They got that advantage to do bad before you continue, and this guard up here won't stop something coming up here.
That's right.
And we buried too many. The latest that's been touched everybody, Justin Sola helped, and it's just people out there that they're desensitized. Would you over the years, I just watched. They don't even have values about killing. I mean, killing them no different than throwing a rock across the street. It's
gotten to the point where human life just doesn't matter to some people, and it's just something that we have to deal with and constantly adjust to the mentality of some of these people. And it might sound like I'm getting over into the racist thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about red-headed, freckle-faced troublemakers too. They're all out there. It's just a bad time to be in law enforcement and having to watch the bad guy and watch over your back too, and watch out for your partner and all this stuff. It's just. Well, and I think also it's important to remember that there's a lot of good folks out there too. I was working a traffic detail back in Christmas at Leon Smith Parkway at the entrance to the Oxford Exchange, and I had been sitting there for several hours, and a gentleman pulls up and walks up to me and hands me a cup of coffee. That meant a lot to me. Mm-hmm. That meant that guy, I don't know his name, I don't know who he was, but it meant a lot to me to know that there are people in this community that truly care about what we do. And so whoever that is, I greatly appreciate him. I hope he's watching. That's the thing about it is there's probably more good folks than the bad. But you always hear about the bad guys. You don't hear about the bad guys make the headlines. Yeah, and it's like the lady I always talk on here about, and then I'll probably do it in the closing part about the pay it forward. And I've got a habit of doing it one certain place here. I can't say their name because I can't say it's Dunkin' Donuts, but I paid for a lady this morning. I think it's like $2.50. She chased me down before I get out there. She pulled up on the other side. And she said, "That was the nicest thing that ever happened to me. I'm having such a." I had a kid in the back seat. She says, "We're going to McDonald's. I'm going to find somebody there today." So somebody at McDonald's got to pay it forward today from that lady. But it's just a little thing that when you talk about that, you got to bring you a cup of coffee. If somebody walking up to you at the mall or somewhere and say, "I appreciate your service," they don't realize. They just say it, but they don't realize what that does to the soul of the officer. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. During the Sola Hop deal, there was a state trooper sitting over here off of Golden Springs, sitting back in the grass, watching traffic. I went up, I turned around, I came back, and I pulled up toward him with my window against his window, and I know he's thinking, what is this fool about to do? And I've got these cards, you've seen them, that said, "I appreciate your service." And it's got a state trooper's hat on it and a bunch of others in the shield. And I handed that to him. He looked at it. He looked at me, and he had his glasses up, and he pulled his glasses down where his sunglasses were where I couldn't see his eyes. But he couldn't come up with it. He couldn't say nothing. That little gesture on my part made him believe that what he was doing
was all okay. So one person doing that, I've encouraged people to do that out there. Now, we've got a law enforcement tag that we show in here every week, and I'm encouraging people to purchase that. And I do it for a reason, because the revenue from that goes to help us build the one that we're building here in Anderson, going to build someday in Anderson, I hope, before I die. And it also, a small portion goes to the one in Washington, D.C., but it's a memorial tag that if somebody comes up behind that car with that tag on it, they say, that person, that car, really, that's like me handing that card. They are showing off to everybody that follows that tag, I care.
That's right, and if there's anybody out there that wants to have that tag, just next time you renew your tags at the local tag office, just tell them you want the law enforcement memorial tag. And the tag is special to me. Chief Partridge and I both, we worked together and helped design that tag. So it's special to me. And like you said, if you buy it, it helps us out. It helps them.
It doesn't, these little stickers you buy and put on the back of the windows. I tell the story where this Mississippi State trooper stopped a fella, and he had a bunch of them on his camper shell. And the trooper had his book out. This guy kept looking up there like wanted officer to look at all them FOP things and support. And the guy kept saying, "Hey, I saw that. I saw your stickers. I've been waiting on one of you to come through here like that." He said he went into this town in Mississippi there and he bought him a scraper. He said, "I scraped off every one."
Yep.
Because it was like, he knew that was $20 they had paid to get them little stickers on there, but it wasn't going to get me out of that ticket.
Nope.
He said, "I scraped them off." So the tag is a little bit different thing. Now, I saw some pictures on Facebook the other day, you holding your dog, and the control room probably got them. I said, your dog, your canine. We got to call them canines now. Is he an officer? Has he ever been inducted or is he just your dog?
No, my personal dog.
There's the dog right there.
That's a picture of me from this past Saturday. I participated in the AM Canine second annual biathlon, where I ran a 3.5-mile course with my dog, and it was more of a hike slash run event. And in that particular photo, I had to carry the dog about 50 yards. And
how much did he weigh?
About 77 pounds.
So you're going for the carrying a weight and running. You can see the next slide. What's his name? His
name is Lobo. Now, Lobo is a 6-year-old German Shepherd. He served in Afghanistan from 2011 to 2014. He was retired due to some mild arthritis and hip dysplasia. Lobo is a dual-purpose patrol and explosive ordnance detection dog. And right now, he lives the good life at my house. And
y'all live at his house?
Yeah, we live at his house. Yeah, exactly.
He letting y'all live there? That's awesome. I got something I got to hit here, and I think I'm hitting my numbers to go out to the next segment. But if they'll tell me how much time I got up there. Okay, I'm going to go to a break, and I'm going to hold you over because I want to talk about something important. We're going to come back and talk more with Don Ridley, and I have a little bit of news you can use. Stay right there. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. I got Don Ridley here, Lieutenant Ridley from Oxford PD. We were talking about something. I'm going to get him to hang over here with me on this. I'm going to come back to him in just a second. But I want to remind you that the 24th annual Memorial Day ceremony will be the 25th of this month, 25th of May at 11 a.m. up in Centennial Memorial Park on 17th and Quintard. The law enforcement week we're having is 11th through the 15th. The candlelight vigil, by the time you see the show, will already have been held at Oxford Lake. But on the 15th at 6 p.m. up in Centennial Park, the 17th and Quintard will be the ceremony, the service they have up there, memorial service. And I'd ask you to be there. That's at 6 o'clock on the 15th. So try to make that. I want to go back to Don. Don, one thing I want to talk about, and we've got a couple of minutes to do it. I wish we had about 2 hours, and that's bullying. We've had a situation here in Oxford. I won't go into all details, but a young lady took her life for being bullied at school. And that happens everywhere. It happened to me when I was a kid in school. And it can be about your clothes you wear, the money you got, or the money you don't have, or any number of things. If you just don't fit into that mold, but they don't realize the ramifications that they have off of it. And I know you've been touched by it, as everybody in this community has.
Bullying existed when I was in school. I was a victim of bullying myself at some point. I think if I remember correctly, it was because I didn't have the new Air Jordan tennis shoes when I was in school. Yeah. And I think it's always gone on, and perhaps we may never be able to eliminate it 100%. But if there is a child out there that is being bullied, I would ask that child or that person to please speak with somebody. Please speak with your parents. Speak with your teacher, the principal, somebody that you respect, an adult that you respect.
Well, let me throw something at you before we're going around out of time. I'm thinking about the same situation. Schools, in my opinion, need to have tighter rules about that. They need to have something set up like we got the tipster line for some of you got to report a crime stopper thing. They need to have something at school that Sheila, Susie, or Billy can come call that number, report somebody, and not worry about being, out as a snitch.
Right.
That's worse than a bullet, to be outed as somebody tattletale. So they need to give the kids comfort in knowing that they can tell.
Right.
You agree?
I would say so.
And I'd say that while we're out on school break, all the schools that's in the district, think about that. Establish some policies that says we will not tolerate. And if you do, we've got a line set up that these kids can call if they not give their name, and they're going to report it. And then after they report it, something's got to happen. You know what I'm saying? You can't just report it and say, you shouldn't do that.
There's got to be swift and decisive action.
Absolutely. Is that a camera you're wearing?
Yes, sir. That's our new, it's called a Taser Axon body camera.
Does every officer have that?
Every sworn officer in the department has one at this time.
Wow. That's amazing.
Chief,
you're not taping me now, are you?
No, sir. I'm not taping you now. This is something that the chief actually started working on a long time ago, actually before any of the events that's happened in the news here lately. We were actually looking at body cameras a long time ago. It's just that we just now got them.
It's beneficial to you guys as well as it is to if an incident happens, a lot of the cell phone things start taping in the middle. After the beating already took place out here, they catch
they take it out of context.
Thank you very much.
And, yeah, if you see us in uniform, more than likely we're going to have a camera on. And anytime we make contact with the public, if we get out on a call or something, we are recording.
That's great. Dunlap, thank you so much,
hey,
man.
Thank you, Ken. It's an honor to talk to you.
But I wanted to, I want that bullying thing. I want y'all to get serious about that wherever you're watching us from. And let's get something done about that. Now, this salute this week goes out to all law enforcement. No matter what you're doing, see you later. Next week,